Hi there, welcome to the channel and hello again to return viewers. You're watching the Christchurch Review of Books and it's that time of the month again, the monthly book haul. Now I thought I was going to be stuck with just one book for the entire month. My money's been going elsewhere, well, so it seems quickly, and hadn't bought a huge amount of books in the last month. Actually only one up until yesterday, and that one was this, Inventing the Renaissance by Ada Palmer. Now this book's been out since about February 2025. Always intrigued me. I saw it in the shop, wanted it. It's a very handsome, very chunky hardcover. So Ada Palmer is a bit of an internet celebrity, I believe. She, along as being a historian and a cultural critic, she is also a science fiction writer. She wrote a series of science fiction novels in the, I think, Terra Incognita series. I haven't read them, but she has a legion of fans for that, and she's active on social media and has a big, large following there. Now this one, as the title may suggest, it's about the Renaissance. Well, it's about basically the very many disparate events, people, personalities and whatever that happened over a period of time, which we in latter years have termed the Renaissance as if it was a singular event or process, and Ada Palmer basically is here to pick this all apart and find the myths and the lies and the mistakes and the misunderstandings of what we have seen looking back into these eras. I understand it goes on to lots of tangents and divergences, with some humour and snarkiness and a lot of interesting information about history and the personalities therein. So that is Inventing the Renaissance by Ada Palmer. Now I thought I was going, as I said, I thought I was going to have only that book for the book haul, but a couple of weeks ago I started investigating going to a bookshop here in Christchurch which I hadn't visited before, and that is Hornby Books in the suburb of Hornby, as the name suggests. And Hornby is in the southwest, far southwest part of Christchurch, not an area I usually go to, so I made a special little expedition out there yesterday morning on the number 5 bus. Took a little while to get there. The area it's in is heavily car-centric. There are large malls, outlet malls, massive stores, hardware shops, all that type of thing, and it's all dedicated to cars parking. I felt a little scared, all trying to cross the roads, massive multi-lane roads and heavy traffic, and then the traffic was even worse because of all these Black Friday sales, what have you, going on. So I found the bookshop. I understand it's been there for about 30 years. It's in a small strip of shops which look very 90s, so it's been around since the 1990s. People highly recommend it online. So I went there yesterday morning, found the bookshop. I'll probably put some pictures up here of it, and I was a little disappointed. Nothing about the service or whatever. It's just the layout was very strange. It was like for every genre or whatever, the owner had selected like 2 or 3 authors of that genre and then filled the shelves with that author's works. Maybe that's what sells those authors. So like the science fiction shelf had like 3 or 4 authors and then a few random books crammed in at the bottom, which is kind of disappointing. I kind of judge these bookshops by their science fiction sections for good or bad. So it was like that for various genres. There was a separate section for westerns, which is something that you don't see a lot in Christchurch bookshops. There was a kind of classics, mixed classics and section. There were magazines and comics, not a huge selection. There were romance books, a whole lot of contemporary type books. It's an interesting selection, but I felt disappointed the way it was all laid out, and there wasn't much depth to the collection, I don't believe. The owner probably will hate me for saying that anyway, and I picked up 3 books that struck my eye. The prices aren't a massive bargain basement thing, but I guess fair for the type of books. So the first one is this. It's a Picador 1980s version of E.L. Doctorow's Ragtime. Now Ragtime is one of those great American novels that you always hear about, but no one seems to have actually read, including myself. It's attractive to me. It's like a story going on in the 1920s or early 20th century period, and it seems to incorporate walk-on roles and cameos from various figures of that time, like Harry Houdini and so on, certainly in the United States, of course. And yeah, so that is Ragtime by E.L. Doctorow. It is a picador, white spine, there we go. There was actually another copy there of this with a smaller, more compact paperback with a very elaborate period type cover, but the spine was all broken, so I chose this one instead. Unusual to see two copies of a book that you'd never see anywhere. So that is Ragtime by E.L. Doctorow. Okay, next up is this book, World War II History HHHH. It is a non-fiction account of the assassination attempt or assassination of Reinhard Heydrich, a top Nazi in World War II. The Allies basically planned a mission by some Czechoslovakian agents to take him out. I do remember documentaries and reading about this is like a offhand account in broader books, and I believe they assaulted his car or his motor train with submachine guns, and they proved ineffective, so they ended up biffing a grenade at him, and it didn't kill him right away, but he died from the effects of the explosion later, I believe. So this is an entire book about the mission, the training, the target, and why he was targeted, and well, being a Nazi is probably a good reason. And anyway, so that is HHHH. It's actually a translated French book, I believe, by Lauren Binet or Binet. HHHH is apparently the initials for a German phrase which Himmler's brain is called Heydrich, which apparently all those words start with H in German. Apparently, well, as the blurb says anyway. So that is HHHH. Lastly, probably a little lighter but serious history stuff all together. This is Great Uncle Harry by Michael Palin. Michael Palin, the Monty Python member who remains in the spotlight, kind of had a renaissance starting in about, I think, the 90s with travelogues, travel programs, travel writing. He did all these epic journeys around the world in 80 days and around the poles, and we were more lately he's gone to places like North Korea to see what it's like. And he has started recently started a career writing history as well, and this is, I think, his most recent book, which basically is a very personal one. I mean, he basically digs into the history in his family of his great uncle Harry, who I believe died in one of the major battles of World War I. So he basically follows his life and history. It has a New Zealand connection. There was some connection to New Zealand with Uncle Harry. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's mentioned in the blurb. So there we go. And actually, I'm not sure if he actually died. I'm just jumping to conclusions there. Maybe he lived a happy life after the war in New Zealand, and that's the story. Will remain to be seen. So that is Great Uncle Harry by Michael Palin. Okay, so that is the book haul for this month. Just 4 titles. I did buy some Kindle ebooks, I believe, in the past month, but that has gone out of my head. I haven't actually read them. I'm still currently reading 2 or 3 books at once, trying to get through them. Recent events in my life haven't been kind to my reading time, and I'm about to end this video with something about that. So it will explain what this picture on the monitor is. So until next time, which will probably be a review of one of the books I'm trying to finish, we'll catch you later. Goodbye. Hi, I had doubts whether I'd film any videos today, but I thought the show must go on, a book haul at the end of the month. So that's going to go ahead. I'm filming this segment first, which I'll probably put on the end of the book haul video. If you're seeing this, that's what happened. So what I want to say, bring attention to, or give a tribute to, is my mother, Pauline Gloria Ferrand, who less than 24 hours ago passed away, died, whatever euphemism you like to use. This is her here as a child with a cat. She was known as Pauline Savage back then, and she always loved cats. There were always cats in her life, and that's something she passed on to me. There were always cats in my life until relatively recently, whether they were pets or neighbourhood strays that became pets, or in some cases the neighbours' cats that became our pets. So that's something I have to thank her for. And she was a pragmatic woman, maybe shy and socially anxious, another thing she passed on to me. She had to put away her dreams and talents as a young woman to do the right thing and bring up a family, and not always perfect conditions. She brought up 3 of us, myself and my 2 sisters, and she lived long enough to see her grandchildren become adults. I stayed with her longer than a child usually would, long enough to see probably our roles reverse somewhat, where she used to care for me, tend for me, provide my needs. In later years, that was my role, looking after her, but I'm not sure I totally succeeded in that towards the end. I think the earthquakes of 2010, 2011 were a massive shock to her, and she never kind of regained her spirit after that. And following that, there were a series of health scares or issues, and then just the infirmities of old age kind of built up to create a downward spiral in latter years. Just in the past year, there's been some mental health issues which kind of threatened to drive a wedge between her and me. I probably didn't react the best to that. Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you, Mum, and I hope this is enough. Thank you. Thank you, viewers. Goodbye.